Now it's 11 people dead in the last 4 months on the south side, southwest side of Chicago, which is where the divider is from black to white. But this is the whiter side. There's a mosque, there's an Arab quarter, there's Mexicans to the north, then there's blacks. The whole, from where I live, I'm kind of in it. The whole Inglewood side of Chicago, the whole east side, all black. But I'm talking about like Harlem Avenue and 103rd, 87th, 63rd in Harlem. 11 homeless people have been found strangled and thrown in the river. And, people are speculating, oh, it's this guy, oh, it's that guy. Uh, it's somebody. It's somebody strong. And it's somebody I think who, nah, who, I don't know. There's a lot of details to the case. I was talking about it with this homeless guy, Dave. He's the one telling me he went to the memorial and he thought it was going to be 6 people, but it was 11. And that's some real up close and personal shit. And I said, man, that's somebody who like killed animals or something, dude. Like strangulation of both male and female victims. And I knew two of them. One's name was Kevin Berger, rest in peace. He lived across the street from me on 87th in Harlem, in that area. And there was this building. And this building attracted, and this was like 2001. This was the end of like, everybody talked about the 90s and late 80s crack explosion. This was 35 to 49, 52, maybe the latest, year-old white children of baby boomers who were heavily addicted to crack cocaine. Not so much heroin, but they would buy crack. They'd buy a 20 at like 2 p.m., and then they'd smoke for 2 days. They'd smoke all through the night into the next morning until finally they crashed or something like that. But then if they had an apartment, like the building I'm speaking of, because there was like these 3 giant buildings in a row, or 3 apartment buildings, and then there was like apartments on the other side of the street. There was a trailer park down the way, and this is South Chicago, 87 South, like 87 blocks south of downtown, and a little bit west. So these were the children of baby boomers. These were people who had it, I wouldn't say super easy, but they had it easy. Like, there was always a job, and there was never a computer background check. They didn't even have to give you a social security card. They just always had jobs. If it wasn't for the union, they had a job in this and that. They would have $1,000 checks, and people would just wait for these people. There'd be like 3 crackheads waiting for like this one guy to get off work with his $1,000 union check, and he'd be ready with his $100 bill ready to buy rocks, and they'd get to smoking like 5 of them. Then they'd run out of that, and somebody would go out and steal, and then they'd all be ready to probably crash out, and out of nowhere somebody would come with another giant chunk of money or something to sell, or a brand new TV, or cars. People, I remember one time my buddy, he's like, hey dude, this guy wants to give you I'm sorry, not a Caprice, but the old Cutlass. Black, shiny, waxed Cutlass, aftermarket rims that fit. They were classy, fucking clean. I got a Cutlass. I got a Bronco with bullet holes from this dude, Big Jeff. I guess somebody went and ripped off one of the crack dealers on Damon, and they got the car lit up, and I bought the Bronco. Big, blue and white. I was 17 years old, driving around with a Bronco with bullet holes, but then I put tape on it. Duct tape, or something that blended in. Couldn't be riding around with bullet holes to get pulled over. Hey, you got bullet holes in your car. And then we don't know where they're gonna go from there. Couldn't do that. Just pull you over and fuck you over. But people would trade cars. They were very desperate. And the reason I'm telling this story is because Kevin Berger was one of them. There was probably like 30 main people, and then there was like their girlfriends and their girlfriends' friends. And they would all come through this one building, and there'd be like crack houses on the first floor, because it was one room you could rent out for like $75 a week. And there was like 10 of those, and then there was a couple of these studios. And there was this main studio. It was the worst place, where the guy just let his doors open at all times. If you had drugs for him, he'd let you in. And people would just sit outside in their car in the back parking lot with a big bag of crack and be like, here, 20, 60, 35, 80, 100, 80, 10. 10, all day, like clockwork. And one person would have heroin and one person would have crack. But heroin sold slower back then. But this dude Kevin Berger, who they found in the fucking canal dead, I remember my friend, the dude Kevin Berger was like all cracked down. He was like, bro, I'm getting my money tomorrow. Just give me a line of this shit, right? Heroin to come down from the crack. He was like, here, bro. He set him out a piece of raw, like a $10 or $20 piece of tar, I think it was. He had tar at the time. And he put it out on the table, and this crackhead guy and his old lady Jody, who was like, looked like she had AIDS, burst through the door. They look at the line of dope that was set out for him, and the big boyfriend of this crack whore girl goes, bow, and smacks Kevin across the room, takes the plate, gives it to his girlfriend, and then she snorts it. And the dude my buddy who fronted it, because he had the heroin, I had the rocks back then, we were kids, we didn't know what we were doing. We thought, we'll take $80 and we'll make $240 off it, great, life is great. No, you do not win with selling drugs. You don't win with touching it. It only ruins people's lives. Even if you think, I got a brand new car, I'm 17 years old, I got thousands of dollars, I got clothes, I'm buying people shit, everybody likes me because I have money, how that goes. And, I'm selling weed and things are going okay. I'm 17, I don't even know what the world is yet. 3 years ago I was 14. I wasn't in school no more. And and media influence you a lot. When you live in like kind of a ghetto area, everybody listens to rap, so thinks, drugs is cool, all that shit's cool, blah, 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 smoking weed. Anyway, and we got put on by this guy who went to jail for 8 years, and he gave us his connect. Because we were we were the shorties for him. We were like shorties to him. And we would put money on his books because he sent us through with the fucking connect of a lifetime. The shit was dirt cheap. And we had people that would pay a lot for it, or a regular price for it. And they didn't have to drive to the projects. They didn't have to drive to the hood. It was right there for them, in front of their face. So we didn't have to have bigger bags. We just had to have something adequate. We just had to have even. We had enough of this shit. We gave this shit away. We'd front everybody once. If you didn't pay us back, we'd at least front you once. That way the second time you can't be like, hey, can I get a free bag? Be like, no, you still owe us from the last free bag. Pay us back, and maybe next time you need one, we'll give you one. But you can't keep just getting free bags. You get one, that's it. We see how you do with that. So Kevin Berger, man, he's dead. This guy, he was like a 30-pack a day guy. He looked a lot of people said he looked like a gremlin. He lived with his mother, Barb, I think her name was, and she had Down syndrome. And you would just hear her like, Kevin, I need a cigarette. She would walk around asking people for cigarettes. It was a wacky ghetto neighborhood. And I moved from the hood, like African American 99%, to white people. And this white people hood was way more out of line because of drugs and shit. It was way more dysfunctional. And there was no order. There was no order. It was just like might made right. So that's why I tried to hang out with like 3-4 people, because these crackheads, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm 17 years old. What if they want to just jump me and rob my shit? So we'd have to be together. We could never travel solo. We'd have to have 2. That's why I hung out with my one boy who was real big. And then it turned into this big fight over the building. There came a time when there was a fight. And I remember I went to go serve some lady like 4 blocks down in these other row house projects of white people and all types of people. And they saw me going there in my car. And I was driving down 87th Street, and I see them on a balcony to my left, and they're talking shit. What's up, pussy? You gonna be a pussy? We had already had fist fights like a week before. I'm like, bro, I'm not about to come over there and fight 2 of you at 2 o'clock in the morning. Get up with me tomorrow or some shit, I said. I'm driving down the street. I go deal with her, come back home, take my keys out the ignition, go in my back door. Caught me slipping. They were waiting in the hallway, right? So I immediately run around the other building. Now the building's at a corner, right? I go around the corner. I see 2x2s laying there for whatever reason. I pick up a 2x2. There's 2 people behind me. I'm running. I do one of these. Spin with all my might, like if you were to swing at a baseball, but you started by facing the pitchers behind you, and just wham, and I remember I hit him in his ear, and he was like this. He was coming at me, but his motor skills slowed down. He slowed down, he falls on me, and he's just dripping blood, dripping blood. His ear was cut off by the wood. Wham. His ear got cut the fuck off. And when that happened, because I was friends with both these people for a while, we were a team, but then there was a dispute, and then there was fights, and then I got my other boy to be on my side. It was like we split into camps. They had their little thing, we had our little thing, but we had the building where all the people were, all the drug addicts would come, so it was a problem. They wanted to whoop my ass and make me like leave town, beat me up so bad. I don't know what their plan was. I think it was just some drunk shit, because after that happened, I know they went home, and they came from Indiana. That's where him and his mama moved from. And I was the first one to show him the neighborhood, cuff him. You know, he was an SD from out there, I think, and I wasn't really on none of that. I just really just chilled with people just to try to fuck their hoes, get their connects, smoke weed, shit like that, right? Sorry, I'm all dirty. I was out digging a trench for flooding in my little gazebo I built out by the river. Anyway, yeah, we split into camps, and I know when he came home, and his friend came from Indiana to stay with him and his mama, because his friend was fucked up, homeless, whatever, and they were friends from Indiana. And I know what happened when they went home, because my boy was there, and he was like, bro, when they walked in the door, his mom immediately called 911, and she was like, Lewis, his name was Lewis, like, you and him, pack your shit, get out of my house. You got blood everywhere. Y'all ain't living here no more. Because I think she knew they were coming to whoop my ass. They probably told her, we're going to go whoop that nigga's ass. And she's like, Lewis, don't do it. Don't get into trouble, right? Or she was probably like, whatever. So she thought two of them were going to go over there and whoop my ass, come home, and tell her how they whooped my ass. Right? That's not what happened. They came home, and that nigga his friend had an ear missing. After his ear was cut off and he bled everywhere, the other dude who was with him, the dude who got his ear cut off really shouldn't have even been there or being involved. He was just backing up his friend. He was going to whoop my ass, I guess. We were like all like 17. They were like 19. I was like 17. And got his ear cut off for getting in somebody's business that he didn't have nothing to do with. But the other dude who I was fighting with, after he saw that ear cut off, I pushed the guy off me and I run him covered in blood. I look back and he's just like this. Oh shit, bro, your ear. And I'm just getting down the street, right? I had weed on me and shit. I don't want no problems with the police. They're gonna charge me with cutting somebody's ear off, even though it was self-defense. Who knows? The police told him it was okay to whoop my ass. I do remember that. Like, the police instigate shit. But he went back. And I know my friend was there. My friend was like, yeah, bro, his mom didn't want to hear shit. She knew that they didn't beat your ass, and she was mad that they went over there to whoop your ass and ended up getting fucked up, getting his ear cut off with a piece of wood. And she didn't want to hear shit. She just told him, pack their shit, get the fuck out. She had enough. She had enough. Years later, my mom's a bartender. She saw my mom in the bar, and I ended up seeing my friend again. Like, he came back to Chicago like 6 years later, without the dude without the ear, and I didn't even bring it up. I was like, is everything cool, bro? Are we cool? Are you still mad about when we were kids? And I helped him out and shit. He lost his car. I would give him rides. I was driving around in a Ford Flex. I was doing all right. His mom was saying hi to me. She would drop him off, but I was looking out for him, because that's the type of dude I am. I don't hold grudges. But they're murdering serial killers around here, and these people who are getting murdered have lived that life. Where when they were 30, it was 2000, 1999. They were doing crack heavily until they were 35, 40. Wasted that decade. Now they're 45. Now they're 50, 55, 60. Going on 60. Living in like the woods or homeless. And there's somebody out there taking them out. People are speculating it could be the police. I have no idea. And I'm not about to sit here and allege. I think it's the police. I don't know, but they're not reporting on it in the paper. So that's the news from Chicago, everybody. God bless.